I sit at the head table of Giovanni's with a smile plastered across my face, watching my husband of 7 years raise his glass. The candlelight catches in the crystal, throwing prisms across the white tablecloth. Marshall looks handsome tonight in his charcoal suit, his voice carrying across our private dining room as he begins his toast. To Darcy, he says, his gaze finding mine. 33 looks beautiful on you. The small gathering of family and close friends murmurs in agreement. I nod in acknowledgement, my fingers absently touching the strand of pearls at my neck, my father's last gift before his heart gave out 7 years ago. Across the table, my sister Sabrina glows in coral silk, her golden hair cascading over one shoulder. My mother Darlene hasn't stopped fawning over her all evening, adjusting her necklace, touching her arm, leaning in to whisper little secrets. Some things never change. When I first met Darcy, Marshall continues, I knew she was different. That brilliant mind, that quiet strength. Actually, Sabrina cuts in, standing suddenly. Her chair scrapes against the hardwood floor. Before we continue, I have an announcement. My mother's eyes sparkle with anticipation. She knows something. The realization slices through me with surgical precision. Sabrina places one manicured hand over her still flat stomach, her diamond bracelet catching the light. I'm pregnant. She pauses, her gaze locking with mine. And Marshall is the father. The room falls silent. Silverware freezes midair. Someone's glass tips over, sending red wine spreading like blood across white linen. I don't move. Don't blink. My lungs continue their steady rhythm while my brain catalogs every reaction around the table. My mother's barely concealed smile. Marshall's face draining of color. Joelle, my best friend and attorney, reaching for my hand beneath the table. Darcy, Marshall stammers, this is insane. I don't know what she's talking about. But his eyes flick to the exit, calculating escape routes. I recognize the gesture. I've spent weeks doing the same. Everyone watches me, waiting for the inevitable collapse. The tears. The screaming. The broken wife shattering like fine china on Italian marble. Instead, I reach for my purse. Confusion flickers across Sabrina's triumphant face. Marshall shifts his weight from one foot to the other. My mother's smile falters. Before we continue with these accusations, I say, my voice steady as I extract 2 sealed medical envelopes, there's something you should know. I place them precisely on the table, aligned with the edge. The restaurant's ambient music seems to fade as I open the first envelope with measured movements. Marshall has azoospermia. I announce, sliding the medical report toward him. He is clinically incapable of fathering children. The blood drains from Sabrina's face so quickly I wonder if she might faint. Part of Mia's small detached parthopes she does. The coral silk would look stunning against the dark floor. What are you talking about? Marshall snatches the paper, eyes darting over the medical terminology. Test results from 2 separate fertility clinics. I slide the second envelope toward him. Dated 6 weeks ago, and 3 weeks ago. He stares at me, mouth working silently. The confusion in his eyes gives way to horror as understanding dawns. She's lying. Sabrina's voice pitches higher. This is obviously fake. I turn to her, allowing myself one small, cold smile. Would you like to call the clinic? Their number is right there on the letterhead. Darcy, my mother interjects, one hand fluttering to her throat. Surely there's been a mistake. The only mistake, I reply, rising from my seat, was assuming I wouldn't find out. Marshall reaches for my arm. Baby, please? I step back just beyond his grasp. I had you tested, Marshall, legally, with full consent while you were sleeping off another late night at the office. His face contorts with disbelief. You drugged me? I didn't need to. The words taste like victory on my tongue. Your drinking did that all on its own. Have you ever had that moment when the world stops turning, and suddenly you see everything clearly for the first time? When betrayal becomes so obvious it's almost beautiful in its completeness? I gather my things, purse, coat, dignity while they sit frozen in their shattered scheme. The pearls at my throat feel lighter somehow, as if my father's spirit stands beside me, his hand on my shoulder. Where are you going? Marshall finds his voice at last. I pause at the doorway, not bothering to look back. To file for divorce. The door closes behind me with a soft final click. A memory flashbacks to the 6 weeks before my birthday. I sat cross-legged on our king-sized bed, laptop balanced on my knees. The spreadsheets glow blue-white in the darkness. numbers dancing across the screen as I finalize quarterly projections for Henderson and Walsh's biggest client. Our bedroom window stands cracked open, letting in the scent of rain-soaked Texas earth and the distant rumble of thunder. Marshall should have been home 3 hours ago. My phone remains silent beside me. No texts, no calls, no explanations. I stretch, vertebrae popping like distant firecrackers. The grandfather clock in the hallway, my father's last restoration project, chimes midnight. Each solemn tone resonates through our empty house. Standing, I move to close the window against the brewing storm. Lightning flashes, illuminating our yard for one stark moment. The massive oak my father helped plant when we bought this house stands sentinel, branches swaying. Downstairs, the front door opens, closes. Keys clatter against the marble entry table. I don't call out. Marshall's footsteps move through the kitchen, pausing at the refrigerator, likely for water to counteract whatever bourbon he's been drinking. He ascends the stairs with deliberate carefulness, the telltale sign of a man trying not to sound drunk. When he enters our bedroom, his tie hangs loose around his neck, top buttons undone. The scent of unfamiliar perfume clings to him, not strong enough to notice if I weren't looking for it. "You're still up." His words sound too measured, too controlled. Quarterly reports. I save my work and close the laptop. The Peterson account needed adjustments. He nods, avoiding my eyes. "Sorry I'm late. Dinner with Richards dragged on." I don't challenge the lie. I'd called Richards' secretary at 7. No dinner scheduled. I'll shower before bed. Marshall disappears into our bathroom, door clicking shut. Alone again, I move to his side of the bed. His suit jacket lies crumpled across the ottoman. I reach for it, fingers finding the breast pocket. His phone vibrates before I touch it. The screen illuminates with a message preview. "We need to be more careful. Dee's getting suspicious." The air vanishes from my lungs. A curious sensation spreads through my chestnut pain, exactly, more like recognition. The final puzzle piece slotting into place. I return to my side of the bed, resuming my cross-legged position with the laptop. When Marshall emerges from the shower, I'm typing again, face composed. "Coming to bed soon?" he asks, sliding beneath the covers. "In a minute," I reply, keeping my voice neutral. "Just wrapping up." Within 15 minutes, Marshall's breathing deepens, edging into soft snores. I remain motionless, watching the steady rise and fall of his chest. The grandfather clock ticks steadily, marking seconds that feel elastic, stretched to breaking. When the bedside clock reads 1:07 a.m., I reach for my phone. Joelle answers on the third ring, voice raspy with sleep. "Darcy? What's wrong?" "I need your help," I say, voice barely above a whisper. "But this stays between us." "Of course, what happened?" "Marshall's cheating." The words taste strange and neither bitter nor sad. Just factual. A pause. "Are you sure?" "Not yet, but I will be." I slip from the bed, moving to the walk, in closet where Marshall can't hear if he wakes. "I need to be strategic." "Darcy." Joelle's voice softens. "You know you could just confront him. Ask him directly." "No." The word comes out sharper than intended. "I need evidence first. Irrefutable proof." "Why not just leave? You don't need." "Because they want me to break." The realization comes as I speak it. They want me to be the hysterical wife, throwing accusations without proof. "They? Who's they?" I close my eyes, recalling the message. I don't know yet, but I intend to find out. The next morning, I wake before Marshall, dress in a charcoal pantsuit, and leave a note about an early client meeting. Instead, I park across from Sabrina's condominium complex in a borrowed car, Joelle's sensible Honda, rather than my recognizable silver Audi. 3 hours later, my sister emerges in coral running clothes, blonde ponytail swinging. I sink lower in the seat, baseball cap pulled low over my eyes. She jogs to her white BMW, checks her makeup in the rearview mirror, and drives away. I follow at a careful distance. 20 minutes later, Sabrina parks at Austin Women's Fertility Clinic. Something cold and precise clicks into place inside me. Not heartbreak, not even surprise, just clarity. That evening, while Marshall works late again, I access our shared accounts. The password hasn't changed since we married. Darcy Marshall 2018. The withdrawals appear methodical. 5,000 here, 8,000 there. Spread across 3 months, totaling just over $30,000. I document each transaction, creating a separate folder on my password-protected external drive. 2 days later, Joelle sits beside me in her car outside the Magnolia Hotel downtown. Marshall's silver Lexus gleams in the valet section. "Are you sure you want to know more?" Joelle asks, hand covering mine. "Sometimes ignorance is—" "I've been ignored and overlooked my whole life," I interrupt, eyes fixed on the hotel entrance. "No more." We wait less than an hour before Sabrina walks through the revolving doors, sunglasses pushed up into her golden hair despite the cloudy day. She glances around furtively before entering the elevator. Joelle squeezes my hand. "Darcy, I'm so sorry." I don't respond, simply raising my camera with telephoto lens, documenting the exact time and date. "Let's go," I say finally, voice perfectly level. "I have what I need for now." As we drive away, Joelle glances at my face. "Are you okay?" I'm not the one who should be worried about being okay. The words emerge cold and precise. They have no idea what's coming. 3 days after the birthday surprise, the coffee shop sits at the edge of town, far from the polished granite countertops of Marshall's favorite haunts. Steam rises from my untouched cup as I check my watch for the third time in 5 minutes. The door swings open, and a tall figure pauses in the entrance, scanning the room. I recognize Braden Hunt immediately. 7 years since Sabrina's graduation, and he still has that same cautious set to his shoulders. His dark hair is shorter now, touched with silver at the temples. His eyes find mine, and recognition flickers across his face. Darcy Wilson. He approaches my corner table, hands in the pockets of his worn leather jacket. Or I guess it's Lowell now. "Still, Darcy." I gesture to the empty chair across from me. "Thank you for coming." He slides into the seat, eyes never leaving my face. "Your message was intriguing. Why would Sabrina's sister want to meet me after all these years?" I take a measured sip of coffee before answering. "Because we share something in common." "And what's that?" "We've both been used by my sister." His jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. In another life, I might have missed it, but years of watching for the smallest sign of Marshall's lies have honed my perception to a razor's edge. I place a slim folder on the table between us, opening it to reveal the fertility clinic documents. His insurance information highlighted in yellow. "Where did you get this?" His voice drops to a whisper as he pulls the papers closer. "The Austin Women's Fertility Clinic. Sabrina used your insurance for her treatments." His fingers trace the information, brow furrowing. "That's impossible. We haven't been together since 3 months ago, according to these records." Color drains from his face. "She told me she was single, and on birth control." The cafe sounds fade around us as understanding settles between us like an uninvited guest. "She's pregnant," I say quietly. "And she claims my husband is the father." Braden leans back, running a hand through his hair. "Jesus." "But Marshall can't father children. I had him tested." Braden stares at me, then barks a laugh that holds no humor. "So she needed a backup plan." "She needed genetic material," I correct him. "And apparently, you were convenient." Silence stretches between us. The barista calls out an order. Someone drops a spoon. Life continues its mundane rhythm while our worlds tilt on their axes. Braden pulls out his phone, thumbs moving quickly across the screen. "You should see these." He slides the phone toward me. Photos of Sabrina entering his apartment building. Timestamp: 8 weeks ago. Another from a restaurant. 6 weeks ago. Text messages planning their meetings. "I thought we were reconnecting," he says, voice hollow. "She said she'd always regretted letting me go." Something cracks inside me, a hairline fracture in the dam I've built around my emotions. They've always made me feel like I was the broken one. I admit, the words escaping before I can cage them. Too cold. Too calculating. Not enough like Sabrina. Braden's gaze softens. People like Sabrina break others to avoid facing their own cracks. The unexpected wisdom in his words catches me off guard. I hadn't anticipated understanding from this corner. "Why did you keep these photos?" I ask. A shadow crosses his face. "Because part of me didn't trust her. Again." He rubs the back of his neck. "Last time she took my research notes for her thesis. This time." He gestures to the insurance documents. I reach into my purse and extract a folded legal document. "This is a paternity consent form." I place it beside his phone. "You don't have to sign this, but if you do." He takes the pen without hesitation. "I want to know the truth, too." His signature flows across the line, dark and definitive. 3 days later, the paternity results arrive in a sealed envelope. I read them twice before calling Joelle. Braden Hunt. 99.8% probability of paternity. We have enough now. Joelle says, spreading the files across her dining room table. The embezzlement records, the house purchase for your mother, the paternity test. Marshall's company is already investigating. I nod, watching her organize the evidence into color-coded folders. Darcy. She hesitates, tapping a red folder. Are you sure you want to do this? There's no coming back from this kind of exposure. They weren't planning to give me a way back. I straightened the edges of the paternity results. They were going to humiliate me at my own birthday dinner. Leave me with nothing but public sympathy. That night, I stand before my bathroom mirror, rehearsing the words I'll say when I face them. Not in anger, not in pain, but with the calm certainty of someone who knows exactly what they're doing. I want you to understand what happens when you underestimate someone. I practice, my voice growing stronger with each repetition, when you mistake silence for weakness. I've decided not to cry, not even once, not until this is over. In my bedroom, I open the small velvet box on my nightstand. My wedding ring gleams in the low light, a perfect circle of diamonds and promises. I remove it from my finger for the first time in 7 years, placing it carefully in the box. Some circles are meant to be broken, I whisper, closing the lid with a decisive click. The next morning, I call the country club to book their private room, the same room where Marshall proposed. The manager remembers me. Mrs. Lowell, how lovely to hear from you. What's the occasion? A family meeting, I reply. I'll need the audio-visual setup and a table that seats 6. Of course. And will Mr. Lowell be joining you? I smile into the phone. Oh yes, he wouldn't miss this for the world. At home, I prepare 3 identical folders, each labeled with a name, each containing customized evidence of betrayal. I time myself, practicing the revelations in precise order for maximum impact. Joelle calls that evening. The prep work is done. All the legal documents are ready. She pauses. Are you sure you want to do this publicly? We could arrange a private meeting with the attorneys. They plan to humiliate me publicly, I remind her, my voice steady. Seems only fair to return the favor. That night, I sleep peacefully for the first time in weeks. No dreams. No waking in cold sweat. Just the deep, restful sleep of someone who has finally stopped running and decided to turn and face their pursuers. Tomorrow, the hunters become the hunted. Next day, I wake before my alarm. The bedroom glows silver blue in the pre-dawn light. For a moment, I lie perfectly still, savoring the calm before the storm I'm about to unleash. Today is the day. My fingers brush across the cool sheets beside me, empty for the 3rd night. Marshall claims he's sleeping at the office, working late on some critical project. The lie hangs in our home like stale perfume. I know exactly where he is, who he's with, what they're planning. I slide from bed, feet touching the hardwood floor with purpose. The house is silent, save for the gentle hum of the central air. In the bathroom, I study my reflection. No dark circles, no redness around my eyes. I haven't cried once since discovering their betrayal. Not a single tear wasted on people who never deserved them. The steel gray dress waits on its hanger, selected weeks ago for this precise occasion. The color of storm clouds, of unforgiving metal. I slip it on, feeling the silk lining cool against my skin. It fits perfectly, skimming my body with just enough structure to command respect. I fasten my father's pearls at my throat, a talisman of strength. I see you, Dad, I whisper to the mirror. And today, they'll see me too. My phone buzzes with a text from Joelle. Everything in place. Staff confirmed. You ready? I respond with a single word. Absolutely. The kitchen gleams, untouched since yesterday's meticulous cleaning. I brew coffee but leave it black and untasted in the cup. My stomach is steady, my mind clear. I check my briefcase one final time. Medical records in crisp manila folders, financial statements highlighted in yellow and pink, printed emails arranged chronologically, DNA results sealed in their official envelopes, weeks of evidence gathering, organized with the precision that Marshall and my mother always mocked as obsessive. The country club called yesterday to confirm the room setup. The young event coordinator sounded nervous when I specified my requirements. Projector positioned at precise angle, lighting controls accessible from the podium, individual microphones at each seat. "And you're sure you don't want catering?" she had asked. "This isn't a celebration," I told her. "Just water, nothing else." Now, I check my watch, an anniversary gift from Marshall that cost more than my first car. I remove it, placing it deliberately on the counter. Time to shed every false gift, every hollow token. The drive to the Lakeside Country Club takes exactly 17 minutes. Traffic flows smoothly, as if the universe has cleared my path. I rehearse key phrases in my head, testing their weight on my tongue. "The clinic is expecting your call to confirm. I've been silent for far too long. Are you finished? Good." The phrases taste like justice. The parking lot is nearly empty at this early hour. My heels click against the pavement as I walk toward the entrance, briefcase in one hand, laptop bag in the other. The weight feels right. The burden of truth is substantial, but necessary. "Good morning, Miss Lowell." The manager greets me with professional courtesy. "Your room is ready as requested." "Thank you, Richard. Has security been briefed?" "Yes, ma'am. They'll be positioned discreetly as discussed." I nod, appreciating his discretion. He doesn't ask questions about why a woman would need security for a family meeting. In his line of work, he's seen enough drama to know when something significant is about to unfold. The Magnolia Room waits at the end of the hallway, doors closed. Inside, morning light streams through floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the golf course. The projector hums quietly, already warmed up. 3 folders sit at precise intervals around the oval table, each with a name printed in bold black letters. Marshall, Sabrina, Darlene. My phone buzzes again. "Joelle." They've all confirmed attendance. Sabrina sounds smug. "Your mother asked if they should bring champagne." A small smile touches my lips. "Let them." I position myself at the head of the table, arranging the remote control and water glass just so. The room's temperature is perfect, not too cold to make them uncomfortable, not too warm to make them drowsy. I want them alert for every moment of what's coming. At 9:47, 13 minutes before our scheduled time, my phone chimes with a text from the front desk. First guest arriving, Sabrina Lowell. I stand straighter, squaring my shoulders. Through the door's small window, I watch my sister approach. She practically floats down the hallway in coral silk, the same dress from my birthday dinner. Her hand rests protectively over her stomach, already playing the expectant mother role to perfection. Behind her, my mother hurries to keep pace, her cream-colored pantsuit immaculate, her golden hair freshly styled. And there, several paces behind them both, Marshall appears. His suit is rumpled, his eyes darting nervously from side to side. I take one last deep breath, feeling a strange calm settle over me. For 33 years, I've been the quiet one, the logical one, the cold one. Today, they'll learn that ice burns worse than fire. I open the door to greet my executioners. I position myself at the head of the polished mahogany table, straightening the stack of manila folders before me. The Westridge Country Club's executive conference room provides the perfect backdrop for what comes next, neutral territory with all the trappings of authority. The wall of windows behind me frames the Austin skyline, bathing me in afternoon light while casting my family in shadow. They enter exactly as expected. Sabrina first, her coral dress tight across her supposedly pregnant belly, golden hair cascading in practiced waves. Marshall follows, tugging at his collar, eyes darting toward the exits. Mother trails behind, her smile faltering at the sight of the projector screen pulled down at the far end of the room. "What is all this?" Sabrina's voice holds a note of uncertainty. "Please, take your assigned seats." I gesture to the place cards I've arranged. "We have much to discuss." Marshall approaches, reaching for my hand. "Honey, don't you think we should talk privately first?" I step back just enough to avoid his touch. Everything that needs to be said will be said here. Sabrina's eyes fill with manufactured tears. "I never wanted to hurt you, Darcy, but love happens when you least expect." "Love?" Mother interjects, patting Sabrina's shoulder. "Family supports each other through difficult times. Your sister is simply experiencing a moment of weakness." I allow the silence to stretch, watching them squirm under the weight of their own lies. When I finally speak, my voice comes out steady, measured. "Are you finished? Good, because I've been silent for far too long." I dim the lights with a remote and activate the presentation. The first slide illuminates their faces in its blue glow. Marshall's infertility results in stark medical terminology. As you can see, These results from Austin Fertility Associates confirm what I presented at Giovanni's. Marshall has azoospermia's complete absence of sperm. I click to the next slide. And these DNA results confirm that Braden Hunt is the biological father of Sabrina's child. Sabrina half rises from her chair. These are obviously fake. The clinic is expecting your call to confirm. I tap the folder in front of her. Their number is right there. Marshall launches into a desperate attempt to discredit the tests. These could be anyone's results. You can't possibly. I had you tested twice, Marshall. 2 different clinics. I move methodically to the next slide. Now, let's discuss the more serious matters. The screen displays a spreadsheet of financial transaction dates, amounts, account numbers. Marshall's face drains of color as recognition dawns. Over the past 18 months, you've diverted $247,000 from Meridian Pharmaceuticals into this offshore account. I trace the flow of money with a laser pointer. An interesting coincidence that Mother's new house in Westlake Hills cost exactly $245,000. Mother's perfectly lined lips part in shock. That's absurd. I have no idea what. I press a button on my laptop. The room fills with Marshall's voice from a recording. Your mother's house is secure. Darcy has no idea about the funds. No, she never checks that account. Trust me, by the time she figures anything out, you'll be showing and we'll have our story straight. Followed by Sabrina's laughter. Poor Darcy. Always the last to know. Mother's face contorts as her involvement becomes undeniable. Marshall stands, palms flat on the table. Darcy, this isn't what it looks like. It looks exactly like what it is. I cut him off, my voice cold as January steel. Theft, fraud, conspiracy. Sabrina bolts for the door. I step smoothly into her path. There's more, sister dear. Please stay seated. I slide a document toward her fertility clinic receipts showing appointments billed to Braden Hunt's insurance. Insurance fraud is a felony in Texas. I press forward. As are these emails planning how to break me at my birthday dinner. Mother rises, her voice trembling with rage rather than fear. If you'd been a better wife. If you'd been a better mother, I interrupt. Perhaps you wouldn't be losing your fraudulently purchased home. The silence that follows feels like the eye of a hurricane. I use it to deliver the final blows. Braden has filed for full custody rights, with these documents as evidence of Sabrina's character. I gesture to the thick folder on my right. Meridian Pharmaceuticals received a full accounting of Marshall's embezzlement this morning. I indicate another folder. And all of this evidence has been submitted to the district attorney. Sabrina's mask finally cracks. Her tears, real ones this time, streak her makeup as she collapses into her chair. Marshall shifts to bargaining. We can work this out privately, Darcy. We're family. Think of the scandal. There is nothing private about public humiliation. My words cut through his pleading. You chose this stage. I merely provided the spotlight. I press an intercom button on the conference phone. We're ready now. The double doors open to reveal 2 police officers and a man in a dark suit, Meridian's head of security. Marshall Lowell? The officer steps forward. We need you to come with us. Mother straightens her spine, grasping at the last threads of her dignity. You'll regret this, Darcy. Blood is thicker than water. The only thing I regret, I say, gathering my evidence folders, is the years I spent trying to earn your love. Sabrina makes one final attempt, her voice breaking. You can't do this to your own sister. I pause at the doorway, looking back at the ruins of my former family. My father's pearls feel warm against my throat, as though giving me strength. You did this to yourselves. I close my portfolio with a decisive snap. I merely documented it. I walk out, my heels clicking a steady rhythm on the marble floor. Behind me, I hear Marshall being read his rights, Sabrina's sobs, and my mother's demands to speak to her attorney. For the first time in my life, none of their voices follow me. I am finally free. I slide the last book onto the shelf of my new apartment, listening to the satisfying thud as it settles into place. The morning light streams through uncovered windows, casting golden rectangles across hardwood floors that have never felt Marshall's footsteps. For the first time in 7 years, every object around me is exactly where I want it. No compromises. 3 months since the country club confrontation, and I'm finally unpacking the last box. My fingers trace the spines of my finance textbooks, arranged by subject rather than color, as Marshall always insisted. Small victories. The doorbell chimes, and I check my watch. Joelle is early. Just finishing up, I call, folding the empty cardboard box with precise creases. I tuck it into the closet with the others' evidence of my methodical departure from my old life. As I close the door, a manila envelope slides from between two tax folders, falling to the floor with a whisper. The handwriting on the front stops my heart. For Darcy, written in my father's distinctive slant, the D curving exactly as it did on birthday cards and lunch notes throughout my childhood. I sink to the floor, envelope trembling between my fingers. The seal breaks with a soft tear. Inside, a single sheet of stationery, yellowed slightly at the edges. 7 years in storage, waiting to be found. My dearest Darcy. If you're reading this, I'm gone. Sounds dramatic, doesn't it? But the doctors say my heart can't take much more, and I need you to know what I never said enough. You may never hear this from them, but I see you, Darcy. I see how hard you try. Never let them erase the strength that makes you different. Your mother and sister want a world of noise and emotion and chaos. They mistake your calm for coldness, your precision for rigidity. But I've always known the truth. You feel everything, perhaps more deeply than they ever could. You simply refuse to let it control you. That's not weakness, Darcy. That's power. Be whoever you need to be. I'll love you regardless. Dad. Something breaks inside me, a dam holding back emotions I've contained since that night at Giovanni's. Tears spill hot and fast down my cheeks, dropping onto the paper. I don't wipe them away. For once, I let myself feel everything, the grief, the relief, the vindication. The doorbell rings again, longer this time. I fold the letter carefully, pressing it to my chest before tucking it into my pocket. When I open the door, Joelle stands there with a bottle of wine in one hand and a paper bag in the other. I brought dinner and… Hey. Her smile fades. You okay? I nod, not trusting my voice. She sets everything down on the counter and turns to me, eyes scanning my face. You're crying. Found a letter from my father. The words catch. From before he died. Joelle doesn't ask to read it. She simply wraps her arms around me, and I let her. Another small victory, accepting comfort without calculating its cost. I have news, she says finally, pulling back to study my face. If you're up for it. I breathe deeply, steadying myself. I'm up for it. She unpacks containers of pasta while talking. Marshall's preliminary hearing is set for next month. The company found more evidence of embezzlement going back 5 years. She pauses. Your mother's house has been seized as part of the recovery case. The satisfaction I expected doesn't come, just quiet acceptance. And Sabrina? Lost the custody hearing. Braden has full rights pending the final paternity confirmation. Joelle hands me a glass of wine. The fertility clinic sent a letter. They're offering you complimentary treatment whenever you're ready. Said something about admiring your courage. I take the envelope she extends, adding it to a growing pile on my counter. Choices for a future I never imagined having. To new beginnings, Joelle says, raising her glass. The phone rings. Sabrina's name flashes on the screen. I silence it without hesitation, a simple motion that would have been impossible 3 months ago. To freedom, I reply, tapping my glass against hers. For the first time in years, I feel the weight lifting from my shoulders, not because justice was served, but because I finally understand that my so-called coldness was never a flaw. It was armor. And now that the battle is over, I can choose which pieces to keep and which to set aside. I move to the balcony, Joelle following with our glasses. The sun dips toward the horizon, painting the sky in shades of promise. They expected me to fall apart, I say quietly. Instead, I built a balcony to watch them fall. We stand in comfortable silence, watching darkness claim the city. Tomorrow will bring more challenges, more decisions, more rebuilding. But tonight, I am exactly where I want to be.